Welcome back to English Grammar Lesson of the Day, and my name is Almo from Language Center. Last time I talked about English basic grammar, and we discussed more about main clauses or mother of the family. Let's review some of them before we go on to the child clause, subclause. Last time I explained about the members of the English big family. The main clause, the mother, the subclause, the child, and the little brother here, we call it nephew, prepositional phrase or PP. And last time we have talked about this one, the genetics, subject verb object, subject verb complement for the three types of mother. And we also explained about the examples. This is the examples of main clause 1, Jack studies. Main clause 2, he passes the test. Main clause 3, he is happy. They all stand alone. So this is the way how you make them stand alone. MC1 full stop, MC2 full stop, MC3 full stop. But if you want to make them walk together, group together, this is a connection. We call it conjunction, but, or, and transition, therefore, and so on. So this is how we call them compound sentences, how to group them with the right way. First conjunction, Jack studies, comma, and he passes a test. And you can also use this one depending on the meaning and purposes of your sentence. And the second one, transition. Jack studies, full stop, therefore, comma, he passes a test. And you can also use the other examples depending on the meaning and purposes of your sentences. Okay, it's time now to explain about the other member of the family, the children, the subclause, subordinate clause. So, they have a different characteristic. Can you see here? You cannot make the children walk alone. Why? They will get lost easily, they will need help. So, rule number 1, you cannot make subclause alone. Remember that one. What about if you make them all together in one group? All children. Can you see the picture here? Can you see some orderliness here? No, absolutely no. So don't make them group together alone. It's a mess. They need supervision. So you cannot make this rule again. Rule number 2, you cannot make them group together like this one. It's wrong. Okay? So let's discuss first about the genetics of the children. Again, there are three types of children. We call them SC1 adjective clause. This is the first child. And the next one is SC2 adverb clause. This is the second child. And the last one is SC3 noun clause. Yeah? Okay, let's begin with the first one. Because they share the same genetics with their mother, so we can expect them to have the same genetics makeup. Subject verb object, subject verb complement. Subject verb object, subject verb complement. Because they are the descendants of the mother, they have the same genetics. What makes them different from their mothers is the markers. Some other books call them indicator. I prefer to call it markers. So you can see here, for adjective clause we have the markers whom, which, that, who, which, that. Okay, let's move on to the second child, adverb clause. The same genetics, subject verb object, subject verb complement. But this time they have a little bit different markers. Can you see here? When, while, before, after, because, since, as, if, and many more. We'll talk about this along the way. The last child is noun clause. Again, the same genetics, subject verb object, subject verb complement, but this time he only uses three markers, what, which, that. Remember, rule number 1, you cannot make them walk alone or stand alone. Rule number 2, you cannot make them group together. So children needs mother. Okay? So let's see how if the children stand alone. For example, adjective clause 1. Marker, subject, verb. Whom I help. Alone. Just imagine, suddenly you talk to someone one day and you say something like this. Whom I help. Does it make sense? Absolutely. That's because you make them walk alone. So they need a mother. Okay? So this is the other example. Marker, subject, verb, object. Look at this one. This is the difference. The subject and the marker becomes one person. So you say it, who helped me. Again, if you make them stand alone, suddenly you talk to someone, hey, who helped me? Doesn't make sense. Yeah, something's missing here. Information is confusing. So the same thing with the second clause, the second subclause I mean, this is called adverb clause. Now this time you have another different marker here, before. So this is the example, before I sleep. So again, imagine you talk to someone one day and suddenly you say, before I sleep, something is missing. And again, the last one, the child, number 3, noun clause, you have a different marker here, what? And this is the example. What you have told me. Again, just imagine you talk to someone one day and suddenly you say, what you have told me. Information is missing. What is missing? You know the answer, the mother. So, rule number 1, you cannot make them stand alone. Rule number 2, you cannot group them together without a mother. So that's why we need the perfect bonds. So far, this is the summary of our English lesson of the day. So you understand there are single mother, or we call it simple sentence, if you try to make them stand alone. MC full stop, or MC full stop, MC full stop, MC full stop. That is simple sentence. Okay? And you have compound sentence if you want to try to group them together. MC plus MC, or MC plus MC plus MC with the conjunction and transition. And you cannot make the child stand alone because this is not the right thing to do. Or you cannot make all the children group together. This is also not the right thing to do. That's why instead of this, you need this one. This is the perfect one. Complex sentence. You need a mother in a group of children, or you need a child with a mother. This is called complex sentence. So let's see how we can do it. So now, look at the red one. Whom I help, this is the child. You cannot make them stand alone. Who helped me? This is the child. You cannot make them alone. So you need a mother. The man thanked me. So can you see the combination between my mother and child here? The man whom I help thanked me. This is the characteristic of adjective clause. Subclause number 1. He or she follows the subject of the main clause. Look at this one. I thank the man. This is the mother. Who helped me? This is the child. Can you see the difference here? This one is following the object of the main clause. So adjective clause follows after subject or after object of the main clause. Different characteristic is shown by the second child. We call it adverb clause. How is it going? So let's look at this example. Before I sleep, this is the child. I always read a book. This is the mother. Of course, you can make the mother alone. I always read a book. That makes sense. But you cannot make the child alone before I sleep. It doesn't make sense. So you need to combine. So can you see here the combination? And also this one. I met an old friend. This is the mother. When I walk down the street, this is the child. You cannot make this one alone, right? If you omit this one and you only say this, when I walk down the street, it doesn't make sense. So, what is the characteristic of the second child, adverb clause? So the adverb clause comes before here or after here, the main clause. This is the second child. And the last child, look at this one. This is a little bit different. The main clause says, the mother says, the news surprises me. The news surprises me. It makes sense. It can stand alone. And then you have a child here. We call it noun clause. Suddenly you have like this one. What you have told me. So instead of following after the subject or following after the object or comes before the main clause or after the main clause, the noun clause becomes the subject or the object of the main clause. Look at this one here. The news is disappearing. And the noun clause, the whole chunk of noun clause enter into the position of the subject, and it becomes something like this. What you have told me surprises me. This is the explanation about the next member of the family, the child clause, subordinate clause. Thank you for watching. Good day.